Okay, hello everyone and good evening. Welcome to session 4 of 5 for our React Native Developers Bootcamp 2024 Cohort 4. Today we're going to be having a very interesting topic, which is going to be routing and navigation. When you're building applications, you're likely going to have multiple pages, like you have a home page, about page, contact us, and then a product details page. So how do you effectively set up your system so that you can move between pages and you can pull data from parameters? And for today's session, we're going to have engineer Enow, Leonard, and he's going to be taking us today. And what you have noticed, he was also part of this the cohort for 2 years ago, and he's currently a software engineer at TechShanty. He has worked on web and he has worked on mobile. He's actively contributed on the TCPOS web and mobile applications. So please do well to learn as much as possible from him and ask your questions. This is going to be a 1 hour 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour 45 minutes maximum sessions, and it's currently recorded. So after the end of this session, the record is going to be sent on the group and posted on our YouTube channel. So without much ado, let's put our emojis together for engineer Enow Leonard, please. Enow, you have the floor.
Okay, hi everyone. Glad that some of us were able to honor the invitation and join the call today. So my name is Mbieno and I'll be taking you through this session today, which is routing and navigation with React. So today we are going to cover essential concept when it comes to routing with React. And we are going to have, let's say, a live coding session for all of the concepts that we are going to learn here. So what are we going to take back by the end of this meeting? We are going to discuss, I think, 5. We are going to understand what routing is, how to configure our routes, how to programmatically navigate, and we are going to also cover dynamic routing with React. We are going to also talk about nested routing and also route parameters. Can anyone get me clearly? Is everyone getting me clearly? Okay. So I'm going to recapitulate again. We are going to understand what is routing, how to configure our routes, how to navigate programmatically, how we can perform dynamic routes, nested routes, and route parameters. Okay, so we are first going to understand what is routing. In simple and plain English, routing is the process of navigating between the views of a page, or the process of navigating from one page to another. And for this, our session, we are going to be making use of a package called React Router DOM. I'm going to share my screen so that all of us can see what the package looks like. Okay, sorry, turn off. Nope. Okay, can everyone see the screen I'm sharing right now? Can everyone see my screen that I'm sharing? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So this is a package which we are going to be using. And this is your official documentation. This is going to help us to set up our route and cover everything I just mentioned. So how do we get this installed? So we are going to make use of Vite for the routing for the framework for the React. And we have a little command here to install our React application. And we are going to go straight forward to this routing section. And to set up your routing with React or with React Router DOM, there are basically three hooks that we are going to be making use of. The first one is going to be the browser route. So this browser route is the one that is going to help us to set up the various routing to the various pages of our application. So it wraps all the entire application. So it's going to be the one that's going to tell the browser that, hey, if you are looking for products or this specific route, it is found in this part of the application. Okay. Let us see. Okay, let me drop that just in the chat right now. So that is a link. React router DOM, that's a link there. So to install this package, we are going to make use of so I'm going to share this screen which I'm working on right now. Okay, give me a second. Okay, where is it? Okay. So we are going to go through the installation process, which is this. Okay, let me look up. So we have an npm command to install this package, which is npm install React router DOM, which I think I'll just going to share my other screen so that all of us can follow along. Okay, let me see, where is it? Okay. Let me see my entire. Let me see. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing my VS Code screen. Okay, so we are going to install the routing package, and then we are going to set up our route configurations. So what do? We simply paste, this is a command, npm install, and then the package. So if I click enter, it's going to perform the installation. So while we have that installing, we can head back. Okay, it's installing. So when we have the package installed, as I said, we are going to make use of three hooks that helps us to set up our route configuration, which is the browser route, the routes, and the routes. So we have route and routes. So the first thing is to come to our index or our main.js file and wrap the app component in the browser route. So this browser route is going to tell the browser everything that it needs to do when it comes to handling navigation. So we have that done. So what is the next step? We need to set the various routes or the various places we want to navigate to in our application. So let's start our server right now. npm run dev. We have that running. Okay. Okay. I think it's going to be better to share my entire screen. Entire screen. Okay. Okay. So when I've shared my entire screen, you can now see we have this application now that loads on the home page. So don't really look right now this component. We are going to I'm going to walk you through all the various steps. So we have already set up our routing that is going to tell the browser how to navigate to the various pages. But we still have two components, two hooks that needs to be used. What are the two hooks? The first is we go to our app component. We need to set up the various routes. So how do we do that? We import the routes from React, and we have a slick documentation here that can also help us. So as you see, we have the browser route, which takes in all the various routes to the components, to the various pages. And if you see, we have the routes and the route. So this is going to permit us to seamlessly navigate throughout the various pages. So we have these routes and route, which are the one in charge of controlling the different parts which are going to be navigating throughout the application. So with that, we have the routes, and then okay, I'm going to import. So okay, now we can define now the various route ones in our application. So for this session, we are going to be building, let's say, a kind of basic e-commerce application with features of navigating between the various pages of the application, seeing how to use a dynamic route and also route parameters. So what are we going to have? We are going to have, let's say, a route, and then we are going to have the path. The path here signifies, let's say, the URL which we are going to be accessing on the browser. Let's say when we click on a specific button, where do we want to navigate to? So we have, when you see a slash, that means it is the home page. So, and then we are going to have element, which we are going to pass in our component that needs to be rendered when we are on the home page, which is going to be the home component. Let me see.
Hello, Enow.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Can you increase the font size of your VS
Oh,
Code? At least I think so could be better. Yes, I
is
think
it?
yes, I think that will be better. Yes, cool. That looks. You can increase it one more time. Yes, cool. Yes, that will be better. Thank you.
Okay. So this route hook here takes in some optional parameters and some mandatory. So if you are creating a route, you can specify the path. The path is where this component is going to be mounted, or where the component is going to be displayed. Then you have the element. The element is the component that is going to be displayed on that specific route. So we are going to have our home, and then we close it. So we are going to have a couple of components. If we look, we have products, we have cards, and we have the contact. But if I click right now, okay, we already have that. No, we don't have that running. Okay. Where am I making those changes? Oops. Okay, let me see. We okay, let me have this to save off some time. just going to have these components mounted. We have them here. So I'm just going to be importing. Oops. Product or as a component. Here I just have that. Product list. Product list. Okay. Why can't I find my card component as a problem? It's been exported. I have some issues. Oops. Why are you doing this? I'm talking to you. So you okay, don't know why we have this. Okay, we are just going to comment out this part first for now, and we are going to remove this. Okay, so we have this boilerplate of code here. So we have our first route which has been configured to navigate to the home page. The second is to navigate to the product list, and the third part of our route is to navigate to the cart, and the last is to navigate to our contact page. So I'm going to open the link here on the browser. Okay, so if we inspect, we see that our home page is the one that has been rendered, but if we look properly, we are going to see the content of the home page that says, "Welcome to our e-commerce store," as you can see right here. So we have already set up our navigation to these various pages. So if I click here, it's going to take me to the products. And if I click here, it takes me to the cart. And if I click here, it takes me to the contact. As you can see, we have all that set up here. Product, if you look the various URL, contacts, it matches here. Cart, it's also going to match cart, product, and our homepage matches the slash. But now we might ask ourselves, why do we use React router DOM over normal ATAC? We should not forget we are in the React architecture, we are dealing with single page application. So on as traditional, let's say routing, when you click on an ATAG, what happens? The page reloads. But if you look here, you just see any page reload. You don't have any page that reloads here. Whereas if we're using a normal ATAG, if you reload the page, know that any data that you have, let's say in state, is going to disappear. But with this, we have a seamless transition between pages. You don't even feel like the page has reloaded. It just mounts, and then the router DOM updates the content of the page based on the route which you are on. But if you are using the normal ATAG, you see it's going to reload. So you are going to the server to go and fetch the content before coming to display. But here, the browser understands that, okay, you need the home page. What does the React router DOM does? It just say, okay, you have changed the route. Okay, let's just update just the content. Let's not go and fetch the data from the server. Let's just update the content with what is required from the routing or the route which you have navigated to. So that's like a benefit of using React router over the regular A tag which normally was being used before. So I don't know, I've done a lot of talking. I don't know, is there any question? Is someone clear, or is there something which yes, Lil, really? Yes, your hand is up.
Yes, sir. I was just wondering, like, okay, I saw the how you use the routes to that will enable you that when you click that nav bar down there,
Yes.
that whole bar, it will take you to the page. Like I was wondering, like, okay, like how do like I don't know how did you make it in such a way that like when you because I know that the nav bar the routes I know that it's routing to the home page, but how did you make it in such a way that when you click the button, like it navigates to the home page? Is it that you made like an on-click function or like an on-click
Okay.
then?
All right. Let me. Okay. I sorry I didn't explain that part right. Let me go to. We have this navbar component which I pre-built, so I didn't want to take plenty of time having to do it on the live session since we have less time. So it first starts with this our data file here. It has the various routes that corresponds to what we defined in the routes inside the app component. You see, we have this, we have the products, we have the cart, and we have the contact. So all the routes have been defined here. The various part, we have the home, the products, the cart, and the contact. So, and I have a, let me say, just a normal map function that's going to look through all that and then pass it to a specific component. And we have a hook that is being um, given to us by the real character DOM, which is the nav link. We have nav link and links. So when we are routing with real character DOM, we don't use A tags. If not, it's going to defeat the purpose of single page applications. We are going to have to reload the page. But if you look properly, I made use of nav link, which is being imported from the React router DOM. This is here. So what does this link, nav link does? It permits you to navigate to the various routes that were being defined inside this app component. Are you following along?
Yes, I'm following.
Yes. So the this nav link or this nav link, yes, has a property called tool. This tool is like telling the browser that okay, when someone clicks on you, take the person to this place, the specific link that is being passed down here. If I come back to this component, we see that I'm passing the link, the name, and the icon, which reflects the links, the various links I'll have here, right? And since these links have already been defined inside here, if I don't define any of the links, if I try to navigate there, I'm going to have an error, which let me just show you quite. I don't know, have I been able to answer the worry you had?
Yes, I've understood. Yeah, I just need to like practice it a little bit so that I'll master it.
Okay.
I've understood how it goes.
Okay, so the nav link here is, let's say, an A tag. Let's just say is an equivalent of an A tag, and then we know an A tag has an href attribute, which we pass in the link to where it has to navigate to. So somehow React Router DOM, they don't make use of href, they use nav link to be able to perform those seamless navigation between the various pages. And there's a difference between nav links and links. When we'll be doing the live coding session, we are going to see links and nav links. So nav links, as I said, nav is mostly for navigation. If you are dealing with things like a nav bar, which has various navigation going to different parts of the application. if you look properly, we have something here that says is active, and this is one of the difference between the nav links and the links. So nav links is being able to have, let's say, some custom styles to it. Let's say if I'm navigating to a home page, I want to know which link is active, like currently active. If you see right now, okay, let me go to the browser. If you see, I have cat which is active. It has a background or it has a color of white. If I go to products, it's going to highlight, and I'm making use of the is active property, and I'm setting the text to white. So if I'm on an active link, that means that if the part on which I am on is exactly the same as what is being stated in the nav link, then it's going to have the active class. So we have links. Links is just for normal navigation to different places of the application, but nav links are just um, surrounded around navigation that are suitable for navigation, since you have an active class which will permit you to style, let's say, your navigation or your nav bars. So I hope everything is clear. Did I answer your question? Okay. All right. So there's one last thing which we need to complete under our route configuration, which is the no match route. So let me comment out this and make sure this component, I don't know why we have these errors for component not being displayed. Okay, now there is this let's say, is it an attribute? Yes, for routes, that when you put a star on a route, that means if the path is not found, it's going to return this component, which is going to be a 404 page, which says the page cannot be found. Let's just try it. Let's say we have, normally if we are on our home page, we have that we can navigate to this page, this and this. But what if somehow just come here and I put something that does not exist? What do we have? Since we have not added this URL on our route configurations, we are going to have the 404 error, which is the page is not found. So this is where this small asterisk plays part. So you can also play around adding, say, some nested part. Let's say if I'm on the contact, say contact slash. So if I'm on the contact page, it's okay. But if I do contact and then some kind of page that does not exist, I'll have the 404. And it will not the 404 will not apply to, let's say, some of this URL. You will not see any error. So it's practical to always have the star. So for all URLs who don't exist, you are going to have this, and then you can have, let's say, a little button that navigates. And let me just show you one thing. So this is where the links comes in. Since we are not supposed to style anything with a link, we don't want to use an let's say a nav link when we are not doing let's say nav bar navigation. So you make use of a link when you are navigating from one page to another. But if you have, let's say, a nav bar, you make use of the nav link, because the advantage is that it has is active property which can help you to style the active link which you have navigated to. So it's going to make sense to make use of links instead of nav links when you're navigating from one page to another, not from the nav bar. Okay, I hope that one was clear enough. Is there any other question before we move to the next part, which is the programmatic navigation? Is there any question? Okay, I feel like we don't have any. Yes, Oyan Malta, can unmute yourself.
Mm. I was not understanding the configuration part, like how to configure, because my internet was scratching. So I didn't understand the config. All I did was just follow up. I don't really know how to configure the routing and everything.
Okay, so I'm going to take that over again. So to configure your route, the first thing is to import the browser router, which is going to tell the browser how your routes have been defined and how they can navigate from the various part of your application. Did you get that part? Did you get me?
No, I didn't get it.
Okay, I said we have this hook, which is the browser router, which is the one that which is a component, or let's say not a component, a hook that permits you to um that tells your browser how your route has been configured and how it's going to navigate between the various pages of your application. So for you to be able to set up your route, you need to first surround your app component in the browser router. So this is going to tell the browser how your route has been defined and how you can navigate. For that part, we are clear, right? Oh, the network, I don't.
Yes, I'm clear on that part.
Okay. So now we head now back to the app component. So in order to perform the navigation between the various pages, we make use of two things. The first one is the routes, which is going to contain the route. So the route is still another hook, which is going to define the various parts that are going to be found in our application. So the route has two, can we say two mandatory parameters or props? Let's say props here, because it's a props. So the first is the path, and the second is the element. So the path is the URL which we are going to be navigating to, or the path, like the path says, we are going to be navigating to the home. And the element which we are going to render when we go to this specific part of our application is this component, which we which is being rendered using the element. Same thing goes down. We have this other part which is going to be products. What does it render? Our product list. Card, it renders our card. This renders our contact. As for this, we are going to discuss that in a minute. And then this other section is going to be for unknown or non-existing routes in our application. So when we hit a route that does not exist, this component gets rendered, which is going to tell us this route or page is not found. And how were we able to have the navigation, the seamless navigation between the various pages? We have this navbar component, which already has the defined routes in application, the home, the products, the card, and the contact. And we made use of the nav link to be able to display all those various links and then to also navigate and displays which link is active and which is not. So these are just some small styling to make the application look or the navbar look somehow better. So we are going to move forward to, I don't know, have I been able to answer your question? Is it clear?
Okay, I
Martha,
think
did you
I'm
get me?
yes, I'm getting it's clearer now.
Okay. But at the end of the session, I'm going to um, put this on GitHub so you can be able to have the source code, play around with it, and I'm open for any further questioning if you are not quite, if you have not understood properly. We can say you can say get to me and then we can tackle that. Okay, so we are going to go forward to our next part, which is programmatic navigation. So here we are just going to have, let's say, a small piece of code which we are just going to play around with it. Okay, let me go to our nav component. So we are just going to have a little button that is going to be, that will say click me. When I mean by programmatic navigation, all what you have been seeing here is clicking on links. Clicking on links. We are going to discover, or we are going to get some of the hidden secrets of React Router DOM, which is the use navigation. So we have a button that says click me, and this button is going to perform an action. Initially, we have been making use of links that are clickable, but you cannot click a button as a normal link and then it's going to navigate to another page. So what are we going to do? When I mean programmatic navigation, that means when you click on this button, it should take us to another page. Yes, I think a hand is up. Melvis, yes.
Good evening, sir. Please, can you increase the
Yes.
font size?
Oh, sorry. For some reasons, I'm navigating between a let's say two versions of the project, the one which is fully functional and then the one which I'm supposed to be demoted. Sorry. I think I'll have this close up. Okay, is it okay right now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So we are going to have our programmatic navigation, which is going to be our button. We're going to make use of a button that will say click me. And then I think I'll just make it a bit Excel, and then a background of okay. So we have this button here that says click me. But if you realize, if you click it, it does not take us anywhere. But we want that, okay, when we click on this button, it should take us to our product, or let's take us to our products page. That's when we are going to make use of this hook. So remember, we need to put in an event listener to our button, which is going to be an click. And when you click on it, you want to call a function that's going to call handle navigation. Sorry, navigation, right? But if you see, we have this red line that tells us navigation is not defined. So we are going to define that function right here. So we are going to have const handle navigation, which is going to be an arrow function, which, yeah, this is where all the magic is going to happen. So we are going to import this hook, which is use navigation. Let's use navigation. So since we are making use of a hook, we are supposed to invoke that hook first before using it. And how do we use it? We can just simply call it const. Oops, that's just late. So we are going to call it route. Yes, route. And then we have use navigation. So this is how you call a hook in React. It depends. You might have hooks that are like use effect or use state, which might have two other properties, but since this just have, it has many other properties found inside, but we are going to destructure it when we are going to call this variable which we have assigned it to. So how do we do that? We are going to have router dot route dot okay, is it okay? Use navigate, not navigation, is navigate. So use navigate. Okay, I think we should have the property router dot push. See router dot push. So a specific route we are going to call it text. Okay. So we have that. So if we click on this button, what are we having as error? Okay, let me look up the documentation quite quick. Feel like I've missed out on the hook. Okay. So as usual, if you get stuck, never be ashamed to go and look forward for the documentation. Navigation. Okay, navigating. Why is it taking too much of time? Route. Here, let's. Why is it not? Let's see this. Just give me a second. Let me check the specific hook for this our navigation. Navigating. Okay, navigating. Okay, use navigate. Okay, use navigate. Oh, okay. So we just need to call it and then pass in the URL which we want to navigate to. So if I look properly, use navigate. Okay. So somehow this is an old version of doing it. So I think if we have that, okay. Hope our handler function is well hooked up. Okay, so if I click, it takes us to the product route. So that's just one of the ways we can apply this programmatic navigation, let's say in an e-commerce application when you have paid successfully or you have added your items to cart, you checked out. When the process is successful, you can just have a button that, let's say the user clicks and then he navigates to another page. So is everyone on the same pace? Is everyone getting it properly? Any worries? Okay. So what is the next thing we are going to cover? So that's just programmatic navigation. There's nothing crazy. Yes, Chief Biaka, your hand is up.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, I wish to ask on the application where we had
Yes,
the click me on the home. When you clicked on the click me, we went
yes,
to the product. Now
yes.
I observed that the click me was still below the product. Is it that there was already a click me button created for the product page, or is the same click me button which was on the home page that's still displayed at the on the product page?
Okay, thank you very much for that quick notice. If you see, we have this button which is supposed to render on the, let's say, the entire home page. So since these are like it's like a layout that appears on every page, the fact that we navigate, that's why we are always going to see this button. This is like a single layout application. Let's say if you are having a page where you have a nav bar and a footer, it appears on all the pages, right? So we have this as a layout format. So all the pages are always going to contain this button and the navigation because they are not wrapped inside this route stuff, inside the router component. It's a layout. It's a layout. So since it's a global layout, it appears on all the pages. Yes, yes. Thank you very much for that. Okay. We if there's no other question, we are going to move to dynamic routing. So dynamic routing is a very key concept when it comes to building applications. Why do I say key concept? Let's say, take example like an e-commerce application. We are not hard coding any values here. We are not hard coding. Let's say someone selects a product. When he clicks on the product, it takes the person to a specific URL address, which maybe he can share with some friends and then get that specific product. Let's just get a little example. Let's have Amazon. I hope I'll not need to pay anything to get products. Okay. Can I go to this is taking a bit of time to load up. Okay, let's just have a simple example. Let me see. Let's take example this blog post on dev2. If you see, we have some crazy parameters or dynamic routes that are being implemented here. Let it load. But okay, let's just, okay, it's here. So if you look at this, we have probably this as dynamic route, this. If you look, here is the author's name, and then here is, let's say, a concatenation of this, the title of the blog post. But do you think, let me say, when the browser loads, they are taking hard-coded values and we putting it out, okay, when you click on this, it should take you to a specific post. There are thousands of posts which are being posted here on dev2. And if they are to hard-code the values, you see, it's going to be an issue. What if this person or the author of this post changes the name? That means if I click here, I'm going to have a 404. Let's just have an example. You see, they're making use of, let's say, those concepts of matching routes. So we have a 404 that says the page does not exist. So if this user changes this to some other, I don't know, blog post name, that means our link is going to be useless, right? So let's jump into our code and see how we can achieve that. So in order to achieve that, I'm going to comment this section. I'm going to have product list. Okay, I'm going to keep this. We are going to talk about that later. So what am I heading to right now? Okay, we'll go to their documentation. Okay, right, documentation. Think routing. Let me look for, okay, dynamic route. So in order to implement a dynamic route with React Router DOM, they make use of this part, this specific symbol, which is a colon. When you make use of the column, that means you want to create a dynamic route. So based on some parameters that you receive, you are going to display some specific data, and we are going to have that. So we have our products, and then we have our products, and then the dynamic route which we are passing here is a product ID. We are passing in a product ID to generate, and then it's going to display this specific component, which is going to be product list. So I'm going to walk you through on how we have that. So we have all this list of product, but before that, let me head back here and then just comment out this. Okay. So we have all this list of items that I created for the demo. So we have a laptop, we have a chair, we have a phone, we have other stuff. So where are those products coming from? If I created a data file, which is very practical, a data file, and then we have all these products. So we have the laptop, we have the smartphone, we have the ID, we have the price, and we have a description, right? So what are we doing when it comes to, so we make use of the link, and then we are passing in that dynamic route which we configured. I'm going to split my screen into two so that we should have it side by side. Okay. Can everyone see here clearly? Is everyone following along? Hello, can everyone get me? Is everyone following along? Am I too fast? Am I too slow? Okay, I feel the reactions. That means everyone is following along. Okay, so let's go back to our code. So we have this route, this dynamic route, which we have defined by making use of, okay, sorry, on off. The pace is okay. Yeah. So we have this dynamic route which we define with this period, and we are creating a dynamic route here. So we are going to display this product list based on the dynamic route that has been generated. And how do we do that? We create these products, and then the dynamic route which we are going to be passing is going to be the product ID. And where do we get the product ID? When we map through all the various products which are coming out from here, is going to, we are passing in the ID to create our dynamic route. Just look at it. Product ID. These are the IDs of the various products. So we already have a dynamic route that has been created, and we are making use of template literals to be able to join everything to create a uniform navigation link. So look what is going to happen. Pay attention to the URL, how it's going to display. We have, I'm going to take laptop. What do you see here? You have a dynamic route, and then you have this one. What does the one stand for? It stands for the ID of the route which we are going to be navigating to. Okay, if I take this, we have 2. If I take this, we have 3. If I take this, we have 6. This, and we have 19. But you might be wondering, why is it not navigating to the various paths? We have an issue. We cannot be navigating to the product list. We are already on the product list. Why are we navigating to the product list? So here was supposed to be product detail, products detail, which is a component. Let's see, where is the product detail component? Okay, I think I should mount properly. If I do this now, we have that. Wow, just like magic. No, it's not magic. So we have now our products detail page. And if you look at it properly, we are having product slash 19, product number 19, and it says bookshelf, the price, the description. But where did we get this detail from? Let's go back to our code editor. We say we want to render this. I'm going to take this, bring it here. So we are going to discover again another hook, which is the use params. Since we are creating dynamic route, we can be able to get this product ID or the value as a dynamic route. We can get this dynamic route value by making use of use params. And if you look properly, we imported from the React router. So product ID, make sure it matches the name of the dynamic route value that you dynamic value, yes, that you get when you're creating your route. If we change it to something else, we'll never receive that value. This 19 will never get it. We are never going to get that value. So we have this, it gets this route. So if you can be asking yourself, what if we had some other extra stuff, or let's say some other extra, let's say product dash detail. Same thing, you come to the product list, you add detail here. You need to add product dash detail. And then you'll be able to still get this specific value. If your route, your dynamic route has 2 parameters, you still need to add this other man. That means the first parameter is going to be product detail. That means when you'll be calling the use param, you can destructure to have this specific key from this use param. Is everyone getting me clearly? I hope I've not mixed up a lot of things which you had. Let me take it again. So to create our dynamic route, we make use of the column and then the name of the attribute that we are going to be passing in our dynamic route. And then we have the component that is going to render for every dynamic route. And we make use of use params to be able to capture that value from the browser URL. So we've been able to capture the tool that was here. Camera, 17. Okay. The issue is that we remove that. Okay. So we have camera, the price, and then the description. But if you look at it properly, here we are making some comparison to be able to display the data. So we have this our product data here. So based on the ID of the dynamic route which we get, we are filtering and then we are displaying the product name, the price, and then the description. And if you see, we have a review and let me say like specifications of some specific products, which we are going to get into that. So since the parameters are coming as strings, we cannot compare a string and a number. We are never going to be able to get a proper result. So we are making use of the pass int that converts the string into a number Or we could still make use of, as you can see, we have convert string to an integer. So this is an inbuilt JavaScript method which you can use, or you can better still use number. So what it does is that it's going to convert this string into a number. So just leave it like that. And if, let's say, the product which we are trying to access does not exist, since we are dealing with dynamic route, we have product not found. Because why are we not having the 404 that product page is not found? The reason why we are not going to have that is because we have this, and then this dynamic route is expecting a value after the products. So whatever value passed there is a valid route, but with the use of this check here, we are able to display, let's say, an error message, and then we could have, let's say, a button that's going to redirect the user back to the products page. So is everyone clear with that first part where how we can create our dynamic routes? Is there any question? Yes, Martha. Yes, speak.
Okay. So I'm understanding dynamic routing. Then now, when do I use static routing and when do I also use dynamic routing?
Okay, static. Where do you use static and where do you use dynamic?
Yes.
Okay. So let's have a simple example. Let's stay in the context of our e-commerce application. Do you think it's going to be wise to have a dynamic route if you are just navigating to a simple page where you don't need data that is coming from the server? Do you think you need to create a dynamic route? That's just a question. I want you to think about it. If you're having static data, do you think it's necessary for you to have a dynamic route? Given that the data will never change. I don't know if you are getting me.
Okay. No, sir. Will not be necessary.
It's not going to be necessary, right? So dynamic routes are mostly applicable when you are dealing with non-static data. Non-static data. You cannot be using dynamic route if, let's say, the data has been hard coded. Let's say you want to go to the about page, or let's say the contact. Do you think you need to create some parameters for you to navigate to those specific places? No. But if, let's say, it's an e-commerce application where a user has been authenticated, so from there now, since we are dealing with data that's coming from the database or from the server, it's going to make sense now that, let's say, if the user is going to his profile, you will need to know the specific user, and then now you can, let's say, have profile slash the ID of that user. But if the user is not authenticated, maybe you might not even show him the route, or you just be showing the static data that's just available for him. But when you are dealing with data from the server, you need to have a dynamic route, because this product, let's say, I might be interested in, oops, why did I do that? Just hold on a bit. What did I do? Okay, let's remove this. Let's say I'm interested in this product and I feel like a friend is going to need it, or a friend might be also interested in the product. It's going to make sense if I just display static data. When you want to share this thing to let's say another friend, is not going to be able to see all these things because the route might not match, or let's say there might be some issues fetching the data. But when you have some dynamic route well set up, that's pulling data from the server. The server is going to check, hey, this person needs a product where the ID is 16. Okay, you just go fresh, display the page to the person exactly as, let's say, the initial person will who went to the application actually viewed everything and it was okay. But you see, when you dealing with dynamic, you need to understand that you are fetching, let's say, some data from a server. But if you are to display using normal route, just know that it's going to be at most 70% and 90% is going to be static data. I don't know if we are face did it make sense to you?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. Is there any other question? Okay, so if there's no other question, we are going to take the next part, which is nested routing. So that's where we are going to make use of these two buttons. So what is like nested routing? Um, let me stay in our context of an e-commerce application, right? Let's say you have come to this product details page, and then you want to see the various reviews that people give concerning this product. You will need to navigate to the component which is in charge of displaying the review. Oops. Hit this. Let's have our review component mounted. Okay, we have reviews, and then we have specifications. Okay, so specifications. Okay, so we are going to discover again another hook which is being provided to us by Router DOM, which is I'm going to search it outlet. Yes. So we have just their documentation here. Says the part of the parent is automatically included in the child. So this configure creates both the dashboard and this other one. So if we come down, I think what is the sample example here? So we have the part which is the dashboard, and it displays the dashboard component. But if you realize, we have this index. So with our fundamental knowledge of web development, when we talk of index, we are talking of the absolute home page. So when I navigate to this dashboard route, the index is going to be this component that's going to display. If you had index on this other route here, this is what is going to be displayed. But they decided to display the home. And then they told us that in order to be able to navigate to a nested component, we make use of outlet. So outlet is the one that's going to permit us to have these types of route: dashboard slash settings, dashboard slash profile, dashboard slash this, or dashboard slash dash. So we are going to go straight into our code, which has already been set up for us. We go to the component, this full doc detail component. And if you look, we have the outlet, which is being imported from React Router. And since we are just having some static data, or we are navigating to already a page where we have some static data, that's why we're making use of the normal links. We're not creating any dynamic routing here. So if you click, it's going to take us to the review component, which if we look at it, it just has customer review, excellent, this and that. So let's go and have a little feel of it. So if we click, take note here, we are on a layout. Since we have everything boxed out in a layout format, is going to display. So this outlet are mostly used as tabs, let's say scrollable tabs or for nested navigation. So let's say the user clicks on specifications, it's going to see the specification display. And if it clicks on review, it's going to have the data that's going to be displayed for review. And if you check our URL here, we have products and then the nested route, which is the dynamic route which you created, and then the, let's say, the chai route, which is route. So for specification, we are going to have that. If I navigate to share, if I go, I'm still going to have everything displayed. Since it's a static data, it's not it does not depend on a specific product we choose. So we could still decide to make that a dynamic route by, let's say, attributing each product here is on rating, specification, and all the like. So that was just it for our dynamic, no, nested route, nested route. So I'm going to do a little recap on that detail and click it here. So in order to create a nested route, what do we need? We need to make use of the outlet component from React Router DOM, and then we define the various links or the various tabs that we are going to have in the, let's say, the parent view, and we are supposed to wrap the parent view inside. We are supposed to wrap the children inside the parent route. We are supposed to wrap that in the parent to be able to have that nested navigation. Is it clear, understood by everyone? Okay, I see the same reactions. I don't know. We are 18 of us here, but I feel like some other people are somehow absent. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, then if there's no question, we are going to conclude with route parameters, or let's say query parameters. Yes, this is another important concept which I really want everyone to pay close attention, because for beginning it might be a little bit challenging to understand what is going to happen right now in this code. But as I said, feel free to get to me if there's something you're not clear about, and I'll do my best to be able to explain it to you as simple as possible. Okay, so I don't know if you can get that from the documentation. Let's get to docs detail. Um, where, what is it called? Okay, so let's just have a little summary of that. Let's get, okay, we don't have any. Let's have it here, migration. Okay, let's see. Okay, we don't have any search parameters. Okay. So this usage parameters is one unique feature to React Router that permits us to go into the URL and add, let's say, some search terms which we can use to filter and get some data based on the results or based on what we inputted. Usage params is a hook which enables us to filter or to perform some search operation based on the values which we type in. So, like any normal React, so it's like a use state, which you have the actual state and you have the setter. So this setter is the one which is in charge of modifying or updating the state, while this holds the updated value of state. So this here is a function which we use to update the state, and why this reflects the current updated state. So in order to use that, we call use search params from React router DOM, and then we get the state and the setter, the states and the setter. So in this example, we have our input field, and then the value of the input field is going to be the search term, and then we have a function which is in charge of listening to events, or let's say the keystrokes being entered from our keyboard. And what are we going to do with those keystrokes? We are going to filter the products which we have here on the screen. We are going to filter all of this to find the ones that are going to match with what is going to be searched in here. So look at it in a simple way. So we are going to search, let's say, text. So we only have just the result. We'll cancel everything. It looks back all the various products. If we search for um let's say FYR air. So take note, we have this filter function which it finds for any matching character that has been typed in, and then returns us a result. How do we achieve that? If you look, we have this search term. What does it do? It make use of the use search params, and then get the value of the query that we want to search for, which is going to be search, the term which is going to be search. If you look here, since we are dealing with query params, we have this question mark. So when we are dealing with queries, we always have the name of the term and then the value. So you see we have search equal the value which we search for here is a. So all this happens and all this happens based on the use of this our search, use search query. I mean use search param. So I'm always getting to be confused with queries. So if I do fly, now we see since we are dealing with space, the browser interprets space with a plus, right? So when we have now that, we are able to just have a filtered list, and we still have our dynamic route which navigate pretty fairly. And there's one thing we need to take note. We saw that we went back to that page and we still had our data in state. So that's an advantage which I we earlier outlined when it comes to React router. If I was working with the normal A or somewhere, but since React works as a single page application, we have the state stored Sorry. Um, did you guys get me all through when I was doing the when I was presenting? Oh, okay. So let me take it back again. So we have this use search
Sir,
param.
please, your mic is off.
My mic is. Can you guys get me? Okay. So I was saying, in order to use route params, we make use of the use search params when performing, let's say, some search or query to return some data. We have two um, two variables. The first is a search param, and then the second is a set search param. So this search param here is actually the state or the the key which is going to be set up here in our URL search. So we are going to get the search result that has been typed in and then pass it to our URL that we have up here. This is going to hold the state or the updated value which we typed in inside our input field, while this is the one in charge of setting the value, updating the value. So this holds the updated value. This is the one in charge of updating the value. So this is a setter function that updates the value, while this just reflects the updated value. So if we look properly, we have these get methods to get the search, and we are making use of this function to filter the products based on the value that was inputted inside this search field or inside this input field. So based on the value that the user is going to type in here, we'll get that value, we'll filter the products which we have and return any matching product based on the search term which the user inputted. If you look properly, we say filter the products where the name includes this search term. And when we do that, we lap, we see, if you notice, our query param or our search param says that search equal, so the name of our search term is search, and then the value is this. And we are looking for any matching thing that has to do with lap. If we do top, we are going to still have top. So based on this, the search term which we input, we are able to get some specific results. So I don't know, is there any question? We are going out of time already. Did you guys get me properly? Okay. Yes, Melvis.
Please, sir, thank you for this section. So if I may ask, please, what's the difference between navigating through the different elements of a nav bar using event listeners and actually using route?
Come again, I didn't get you properly.
Okay, I'm asking, like, what is the difference between navigating through the elements of a nav bar? Like when you click on the home page, you should go here using event listeners. What's the difference between using event listeners and route?
Okay, so we have this navigation, which are making use of links to navigate. But in some cases, so this one is based on the context which you are working on. Let's say example, you might have a button that is supposed to perform an action. You can still decide to use a link, or you can decide to use a button, right? So it's going to depend on the how flexible you are on, or let's say you have a defined way of or a pattern of doing things. If you are having navigation, you can either use links or button, but in some cases, one is suitable over the other. So for let's say navigating based on some result or some API request from the server, whatever, I might decide to have a button that is going to perform some actions, because using a link, let's say there might be someone that might like to navigate without clicking buttons. He might just come here and do this. So if the let's say the links are not well secured, you might run into some troubles. But if you have some buttons, you'll never see buttons displaying links down there like that, except that the button has been surrounded in let's say in a link tab to be able to navigate. So I just think it's a preference. I don't know. Is the okay? The meeting still going on? Or you said the meeting is going to stop very soon. Okay, so the navigation between buttons or um, links is somehow some preference, but it's just to choose one and work with over saying that okay, you need to use this. You are let me say there are specific cases where you will use a link over using normal event listeners. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes. So we have been able to complete everything that was set out for this session. So we just do a quick recap of what we were able to learn so far today. So the first was routing. We were able to see to understand what routing is, and also to set up our route configuration. So we make use of the browser router, which is a hook from React router that simplifies and interconnects the way our routes are defined and how the browser is going to understand how to navigate between these various pages. And we were able to also make use of the route, which define the various parts and the elements that are going to display for each route the in the let's say the route hierarchy. Yes, the route hierarchy. So we make use of the route component, which takes in the path, which is the URL or the route to the specific page, and then the element which is going to be displayed for that specific route. And we also saw the difference between a link and a nav link. So the difference between a nav link and a link is that a nav link can be styled and is suitable for navbar navigation, for creating navbar navigation, since it has this property which can help you to style your active or your active navigation link which you are currently on. And in order to use a nav link, we have this property which is the to property, and it takes in the route to which we want to navigate to. While the link is just a normal A tag under the hood to be able to navigate to some static pages. Why this is suitable for nav bars. Is everyone following along? Okay. All right. So after that, we were able to see our programmatic navigation by making use of buttons and adding some event listeners, and making use of the use navigation to navigate to the specific route. Let's say example, product which we had here. So we have this button which we commented out, and this is a handle click function to be able to perform the action of navigating to the specific route. Next, we saw how to create dynamic routes in React using the React router. So the thing is, we make use of this colon and then the name of the attribute which you want to create the dynamic route for. And we have this element which is going to be displayed. And in order to create the dynamic route, we make use of the link and then we constitute our dynamic route. So we have this and then the ID which we initially stated that we are going to use for our dynamic route. And how do we make use of that? We get the dynamic route from the use params, and then we get the dynamic route property. And since we are dealing with our products, we try to do some checks to be able to render this dynamic route. Okay, so after performing our dynamic route, we created our nested route. We saw how to create nested routes by making use of the outlet. The outlet. Okay, let's go to this component. We'll make use of outlet, which creates our nested route for a specific parent route. So more information, we're going to drop the code on GitHub. So the last one which we had to cover was route params. The route params, which was the last thing we covered. Inside the product list, we make use of the usage param, which has the state and the function in charge of updating the state. And with that, we filter our list of products and return the matching product based on the name inputted in the search input field. So with all that, I think we have come to an end of our session. And I thank everyone. Oh, okay, there's a question. Yes, Lucas. Yeah, Lucas, your hand was up. Okay, we'll take Martin.
Okay, thank you very much for the session.
I'm not getting you.
It was
The net-
amazing. I learned a lot.
Okay, thank you very much too for your kind attention. Is there any question before we call the session?
How do we get to you? How do we get to you for issues if we have issues?
I think we can get to know WhatsApp. So can we be added to the WhatsApp group? So in case if there's any please can you just mute yourself? Okay. So can you just add us to add me to their WhatsApp group, so maybe they can get to me from there, and then maybe we can extend the session if need be.
Hi guys. Job, before I answer the question, I just want to ask, are we done with the session for today? Okay. And are you done?
Yes, I'm done with the session.
Okay, I think you can stop sharing. So thank you very much, Enow, for that presentation. I think we have a couple of people here. It's good. We're still going to share these recordings on the group and also on our YouTube channel. For you being added to the group, we don't want to stress you people so much. The main thing that we needed for you is to come and do this session. When the projects are shared, you'll be assigned your mentors, and your mentors are going to have the follow up, right? The mentors are going to have the mentors are going to follow you up completely for all of the things that you will need, right? So don't worry about it. We don't want to get our trainers, our coaches so exhausted in all of this process. So, but in everything that you need, the co-trainers and the mentors who will be assigned to you, people doing the project, will be there to support you. Hope that's okay.
Yes, it's okay. So please,
Great.
I'm going to drop my GitHub account, so I'm going to send a code in case they'll need to get that, because I don't have that already sent to GitHub.
Okay, sure thing. So once you do that, you can always send me a message. I'll forward it to the group, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you everyone that's made it to the end of this. He dropped his GitHub link, so you can follow him on GitHub. And we're going to have the last session tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow, on Monday, which is going to be on Introduction to TypeScript. Thank you again, Engineer Enow, for this. We appreciate your work and we thank you very much for it. Let's have an excellent evening and Happy New Year in advance. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks everyone for. Oops. Okay.